Hello! Hi everyone! Welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're getting back to our series on hacking foods from the Bay Area restaurant scene with a chicken katsu from an Oakland staple of the community called Shogun. Now, apart from a number of classic sushi rolls that you can find at Shogun, they also have one of my favorite chicken katsu plates in town, so I thought I'd pay homage to this spot today. For those who are not familiar, a chicken katsu is a battered and breaded chicken breast cutlet coated in panko breadcrumb, then deep fried to a golden brown awesomeness. It can be served with a number of different sides, but my personal favorite are some pickled daikon radish and of course a classic sweet and savory katsu sauce. Now, a katsu sauce is one that you can absolutely find in stores like any other condiment. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to eat chicken katsu with ketchup, which after hacking this recipe I discovered is actually not as far off as you'd think. However, since this dish, in my opinion, is an excellent representation of the minimalism that you will often find in Japanese cuisine, I think that means that there's going to be all the more emphasis on the quality of each of the elements that we serve up today. So, for this reason, I thought it would be critical to perfect our own katsu sauce for this dish too. So, let's get into it. Okay, so to kick things off, I'm starting off with my garnishes and sides here. First up are some green onions, which I'm slicing on a bias as thinly as possible. We'll be using both the whites and greens as a garnish today, which means that these bad boys have to be very thin, otherwise they're going to be super distracting to bite into if the raw whites of the green onions are too thick. Next up, I'm breaking out the big boy to slice up some shredded NAPA cabbage here. Now, we're not actually going to be eating this cabbage, but it is super important to the dish though, because we're going to be placing the fried chicken cutlet right on top of this for our final plating. This is going to catch any excess oil from the chicken and is going to be critical to prevent the chicken from turning soggy. Next up for our sides is our pickled daikon. Now, if you've never had this stuff before, it reminds me a lot of a bread and butter pickle because it has quite a bit of sweetness to it. I love cutting these things pretty thin because they're so concentrated in flavor, and I think they're going to give us a nice contrast to the heaviness of our fried chicken. Last up for our sides are some lemon wedges to garnish for a bit of brightness, and we're moving on to our chicken. Okay, so we're going with chicken breast here today for a few reasons. The leaner cut of meat is going to pair very well with the heavy, oily quality of the panko breading. But maybe more importantly though, the classic shape and cut that we associate with chicken katsu comes from the butterflied chicken breast cutlet. So I'm turning my chicken breast on its side and then carefully cutting the breast down the center until we have two thin cutlets of chicken here. If you've done it right, there should not be any need to tenderize or flatten with a meat mallet, which I think would cause the meat to break apart in the fry anyway. Moving on to our batter and breading, we're setting up 3 stages here. The first is half a cup of AP flour in our first bowl, followed by 2 whisked eggs for our wet egg wash in the second bowl, and finally our panko breadcrumb in the third bowl. You'll notice that I'm only adding half of my panko to the bowl at a time, which we're going to get to in a moment. I'm coating my cutlets in my flour first, followed by my egg wash second, and finally the panko breadcrumb. Press gently but firmly to make sure the panko sticks to the chicken as much as possible. Most likely, it will pick up whatever happens to be in the bowl, as you can see here. This means that in order to avoid overbreading the chicken, we don't want to add all of our panko to the bowl at once. Then I'm repeating with my second cutlet, and we're moving on to our deep fry. Over on the stove, I have my fryer oil in the wok at 375 degrees F. Then I'm placing the cutlet flat side down for 2 to 3 minutes and flipping to ensure even browning. Then we're letting this go for another 3 to 5 minutes until deeply golden brown and 165 degrees F internally. Now before we move on to our second cutlet, I'm fishing out any excess panko that may have shed off in the first fry. It'll burn and then stick to the second cutlet, giving us black speckled char bits if we're not careful. I'm setting my cutlets aside on an elevated cooling rack to cool for 5 minutes so they don't get soggy, while we move on to our katsu sauce. To kick this off, I'm starting with the all-familiar crushed and minced garlic, followed by a tablespoon or 1 inch's worth of finely minced ginger. Then I'm setting those aside and getting to our wet elements. This is 2 tablespoons of soy sauce to start, followed by a tablespoon each of black soy sauce, mirin, and black vinegar, all of which will contribute to the malted sweetness of our sauce. Then I'm adding a tablespoon of oyster sauce for a bit of fermented fishy umami, and finally the absolutely critical element, a single tablespoon of plain old ketchup. Laugh if you want, but I promise that you cannot make katsu sauce without ketchup. You just can't. I'm finishing this off with a little bit of brown sugar to taste. Mine needed about half a tablespoon, and then we're heading over to the stove. Over in our wok, I've cleared out our fryer oil, and then we're taking a page out of some wok street cooking technique here. I'm adding 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil to the wok to do our long yao for our non-stick surface. Then I'm removing about 2 tablespoons of oil before we start cooking. This is important because if there's too much oil in the wok, it could cause the sauce to separate and break when we add these aromatics. But if you don't have enough oil for the long yao, you're gonna end up with some burnt garlic. So, toe the line accordingly. I'm blooming my garlic and ginger here for about 10 seconds until fragrant, then moving back over to the cutting board and adding these to the sauce to infuse it with our aromatics. If we've nailed our oil correctly, we should end up with a nice thick and fragrant katsu sauce. If you've messed it up, it'll break and you'll have a layer of oil accumulating at the top, which is unattractive. Back over to our cutlets. They should be cooled down enough that we can start slicing these into strips. I like doing these on a slight bias here to even out some of those end pieces. Then I'm plating this up with some jasmine rice, our pickled daikon, a bed of cabbage, and a bit of furikake and green onions to finish. This chicken katsu is so simple and minimalist, but so delicious if you nail everything right. The panko breading and deep fry is a super classic combination of crunchy but tender bite of fried chicken, and just brings me right back to one of my favorite dishes growing up when my parents used to bring me to sushi restaurants, but I refused to eat raw fish. To be honest though, in my opinion, the katsu sauce absolutely stole the show with this one. It has a huge depth of flavor, it's complex in its sweetness, but not overpowering the savory umami from our oyster sauce and bloomed aromatics. If you have an extra 5 minutes, this homemade katsu sauce will be an absolute game changer over any store-bought sauce that you might find. Okay, so that's it everyone. Thank you as always for tuning in and subscribing. I'm so excited to see so many both new and familiar faces popping up on the channel of late. If you haven't yet, definitely check out some of the other foods that we've hacked from the Bay Area restaurant scene. And if you happen to live in the area, definitely drop by Shogun in Oakland on Grand Avenue for some chicken katsu. Tune in this coming Monday next week at 6:30 PST right here on YouTube when I'll be cooking this one live. And come by and cook along with me too if you want. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, press some buttons, do some interneting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
I'm in love with the shape of when we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. You and me are thrifty, so go all you can eat.